All right, hi everybody. You don't see me, lucky you, but I'm sure you hear me. I'm sure you hear me, or do you? Do you or do you not? Yes, there you go. Okay, yes, you can hear me. All right, so um, I am not sitting in my chair because I'm back in the control room. We don't have a camera there because we can't add more cameras for some reason to the computer. But I thought I would do this video here just to kind of show you, because I get questions from people. Excuse me, I get questions from people about how to edit, because I guess they want to do their own um, podcast or something like that. So what I thought I would do, let me get into my programs here. I've never done this before where you can actually see the screen. So let me go to, this is going to be weird for a second. Let me go to my screen capture. There it is. Okay. And now we're going to go into Audition, Adobe Audition. So let's go back for a second. Now, I've shown these before. I just realized that I have the means to do this where the sound is better and it's not just an open camera and microphone in the room. Okay. So this is an Ask a Guide that is coming out on Monday. What is that? The 13th, I think. Yeah, Monday, the 13th of November. And let's see. This was recorded back in June, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, it was June, early June, probably, or maybe late May. And I had not yet set up this studio. I was in the middle of tearing down the old studio and putting this one up. So that means that I did not have a place to do it. So we took our field recorder, which is a Zoom H6 for those of you who care, and I took it out into the field, and we went over by the Iron Brigade position and recorded it. Now, when you record on a Zoom H6, you've got, let's see, 5 or 6 tracks that you can use, or channels. So in other words, I can put, 4 microphones. I could plug 4 microphones in, and then it also comes with a microphone head that I can get, stereo sound with. So we'll go into this in a second here. So if you're ready for your eyes to bleed and for you to think there's nothing more boring than what you do at work, then, here it is. In fact, let me just get back in here because I think what I need to do, I've never done this before, so bear with me a second. I should have checked this out first. Whoops. Let's see. Audio output capture, I think. Application audio. What is that? Capture the audio coming from a specific application. Let me try that for a second. All right, add that. And what is this? Application audio. There we go. Okay, window. Okay. Yes, Adobe Audition. Great. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Okay. So hopefully you'll be able to hear this. I hope it's not too loud. I'm going to turn it down a little bit just so that we don't blow your ears out. Now, I can't see my controls once I go over here to Adobe Audition. I told you this is going to be boring. Okay. So a lot of people ask, why are the commercials so loud? Typically, the whole show is done on a stereo mix, which is basically, it looks like this, where there's 2 tracks, or I'm sorry, there's 2 channels, left and right, in one track, in one file. That's your stereo file. And a lot of the boards have a thing where you can either do the individual tracks or you can do a stereo mix. And you just take the stereo mix, and I put it here on one channel. I put some effects in here, which also show up over here. And those kind of unify the sound. They sweeten the sound a bit, whatever term you want to use. That's on one track. The commercials are individually put in on separate tracks. Some of them, when I recorded them and edited them, I put all that sweetening on them. Other ones, I realized I shouldn't do that. I'd do it dry, and then I can just add it to it. It's a whole technical nonsense thing. But that's why they come in loud. But I've heard people complaining, and so I think what I've done is I've made a little different now, where I can keep those lower and have it be all the same level as everything else. Okay, but anyway. We're dealing with something recorded on the Zoom in the field. So that means every microphone gets its own channel, and that means its own files. And that means a big headache for whoever has to edit it. Guess who that is? That's me. I go in here and I have to put all of them on their individual things. Now, so first thing we start off with is the commercials.
Are you ready for your next great Civil War read? Then try the new historical novel, The Heavens Falling, by Jonathan Lucci. Follow the members of the Dawson family through the Civil War, from the halls of Congress to the bloody fields of battle, and from the decks of gunboats to the solitude of Lincoln's office. The Heavens Falling is available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle, or visit theheavensfalling.com to order. That's theheavensfalling.com.
This episode of Addressing...
Okay, so you see how then you've got... I mean, people who know how to do this are probably really not interested in this. But for people who've never really thought about this, this is how it's done. So here's one commercial right here, The Heavens Falling, and then here's Mike Scott voice, and they kind of overlap. So that when they play,
that's theheavensfalling.com.
This episode of Addressing Gettysburg is brought to you in part...
Okay, et cetera, et cetera. Then, before we do our opening, we have an ID now from John Rothman.
Off your order in the cafe.
Hi, I'm John Rothman, and you're listening to Addressing Gettysburg.
From the Gettysburg.
So I went John Rothman down here, up here to the Sam Elliott intro.
Museum of History Studios.
You're listening to Addressing Gettysburg.
All right, and so as the gunfire is decaying, now we go up here to the three principals speaking here. So you've got me, Louis Trott, Kevin Bryant, and here on the bottom one is ambiance. So let me see if I can just solo that track, and if you can hear it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So you hear faintly in the background, you hear us talking. Right, and you can see that's how that's picked up there. But you can also, every once in a while, hear birds chirping, things like that. I add an effect to that called stereo expander so that it sounds bigger. Let's see if I turn it off. It's not as big and pronounced. So turn it back on, and it's a little bigger. Now, I'm going to unsolo that track.
Brigade marker?
Yep.
Yeah, Archers
so here I am
Brigade plaque.
And they were about 20 feet, 30 feet from 26 North
Lewis.
Carolina.
There you go. We're in between those two, but closer to the Archers Brigade plaque. Why am I telling you this? Because some people, I found out, like to actually go and listen to this show where we recorded it from. So I try to give them as precise a location as possible so that they can kind of get their bearings and listen along.
Okay, so there you go. Now here I had to make a cut because I couldn't remember the word I was looking for, so it took up time and it was useless, so it's just here.
Okay, let's just get to it.
Okay, so I forgot what I cut out. It was just me mumbling, searching for a word, and that doesn't move the show along at all, so I took it out. Now, so we talk for about an hour and 10 minutes before we break for the commercials. And
It was such a momentous year for you.
Oh, it was insane.
Did a lot there.
It's all downhill from there.
All right, so what we'll do is take a quick break here, and we'll come back with questions from our patrons over at Patreon.
So I give the whole Patreon pitch there, blah, blah, blah.
And, join the party, man. Join the party, all right? And we'll take a break and be back right after these words. All right, and now we can get right into the questions. Let me just pull them up here.
For the historian, get your books. 20% off when you mention Addressing Gettysburg.
Who can forget this?
Okay, so there I left that go. Usually I say we'll be right back after these words or something like that, and it goes right into that explosion. But Lewis was goofing around, and everybody thought it was funny, so I'm like, well, let me leave that in. Plus, it goes to show that he actually paid attention to the commercials. He doesn't just skip through the commercials. And then down here is the explosion, followed by the commercial, or layered with the commercial.
Who can forget the sounds of the 60s?
The 1860s. I can't, and you can't either.
All right, and
now,
then all the commercials run through in this area here, and then we get to the end of the commercials, and then we have the rejoinder.
show notes, follow Civil War Trails, and create some history of your own.
You're listening to the Addressing Gettysburg podcast with Matt Callery.
All right, we are back now, and we just said during the break we had a lovely, what would it be, a recital of certain lines from our various commercials that we play.
So there you go. And then so that plays out. I didn't have to make any edits there. And then we get to the end, and down here is where we put Gary Owen and the badge maker spot over that. And let's go into Gary Owen for a second. I'm just going to show you. So here's Gary Owen. So I have the music track and I have the vocal track separate from each other. And so that means I can do just about whatever I want. Whatever. I have enough to do whatever I want. I could have no vocals at all, or I can make the vocals come in or out wherever I want them to. So here, I figured it'd just be easier if I just edit it in a way where the music is low, and then it comes in at the last verse. Okay. And so then when I go in back to my multi-track, that's where we're switching now. When I go back to my multi-track, let's make these a little bigger and zoom in on this. When I go back to the multi-track here, I can pop this in. Just what I do is I find the end where I say goodbye, and then I pop these two in, and I make this right here, the badge maker, line up with the end of me speaking, my sign off or whatever. And then that is over more of the quiet music, and then it comes back in. So, I'm sorry, then the last verse comes back in. So here, if you just listen to it, it's just quiet, right? And you can talk over it, and you don't have to worry about playing with the volume. You don't have to worry about competing with the lyrics or anything like that. It's just music. But then I come to the end, and the commercial is finished thing, and it's like, and so go to the badge maker, CivilWarCorpBadges.com, etc. Bye-bye.
Our hearts so stout have got us fame for soon just knowing from whence we.
And then it just automatically fades in. And that's just one less thing I have to do in editing, because the easier you can make editing, the better it is for everybody. So then once you have everything done, then what you have to do is render it out. So you go to multi-track, mix down session to new file, and then you choose entire session. You do entire session, it's going to give you an estimate. 1 hour, 33 minutes. Okay, so 28 minutes. So we're looking 10 to 20 minutes it's going to take for this thing to mix down. Now, I had already done that, so we don't have to waste your time, but I just wanted you to see what that's like. And that's a good deal of time spent there. And but that's how it's done. I'm sure there are easier, more streamlined ways, but I kind of like to do it in a more manual, old-fashioned kind of way, so that I just feel like I have more control. Let's see what people are saying here. Mitchell Randall says, watching how the magic is made. How many editors does it take to change a light bulb? Just one. They are used to making changes. That's my only editing joke. Sorry. That's good. Thank you, Mitchell. Josh Pickett says, I love these videos. Thank you, Josh. I never know. Because, some people, they like what they like, and if you give them anything more, they can't bother to be exposed to something new. They get very upset that you're trying to expose them to new horizons there. So I'm glad to hear that. So then when it is rendered out, you're going to get this file. Now, let me just do something here. I don't know if I can. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So you might have seen it change there. This is what the file looks like all rendered out. So stereo file. You've got your left channel and your right channel. And over here it says L. Over here it says R. Okay. And you can mute them or whatever, but we're not doing that. Okay. So now you can just leave it like this. And as you can see, the waves are uneven. And if I zoom in on them more, you can see that they're living at about -9 decibels, and then certain, sounds or noises will make it peak like over here. So you got a peak there. And that's going all the way up to 0 decibels. There we go. Let's take a look at that. So now what you can do is you can go to effects, and this is what I do here. And this, I think, is what's going to make it easier for the commercials to not come in so loud, is you pick the hard limiter. And the hard limiter, I want it to limit it to -6 decibels. Some people say to set the podcast to -12 decibels. But I notice, look, when I'm driving in the car, I have to crank the volume all the way up, like no more room to go, all the way up when there's a podcast at -12 decibels. So I put it at -6. So that gives you some headroom. You don't have to crank it all the way. And so then I hit apply, and then it's applying the hard limiter. Now watch what happens to the wave forms here. Watch how they're going to all be on this -6 line. There you go. So now it brings the highs down to -6. So everything is within that little area there. I don't know all the technical terms I'm looking for because I made this up as I went along, or I learned however I could. So there you go. So now when you zoom out and you look at the whole file, that's what it looks like. Nice even line. And you have those dips in there, but that's fine. They won't be so drastic when you compare them to the louder ones, because the louder ones are no longer hitting all the way up at 0. They're just hitting at -6. And maybe these are at -9 or -12 or something. So it's not as far for them to drop to. So that's and then all you do once you have that is you go save as, and you put it in whatever folder you want. I already saved it into my ready for upload folder, and there it is. Ask a Gettysburg Guide 78 color bearers. Oops, look at that, a little typo. Let's go in and change that. Of the, not te, Battle of Gettysburg with Louis Trott and Kevin Bryant. So there you go. So that's coming out on Monday. Now what I'm going to do is find a Patreon episode to do. And let me just see something here. Hold on. Okay, good. The microphone's working. So let me now find. So what? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, hold on one second here. I got to save this. Save. Okay, save. And I'm going to close all. Close all. Color bearers, battle. No. All right. And now it's all closed. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to find a Patreon episode to put out. Got a lot of things in here. So let me make sure. I think I did this. Didn't I do that last week? I thought I did. I think I already have something coming out. So let's see. Should we do... Oh, I got so many. Tim Russo, C.W. Hoffman and his boy. Oh, I didn't do C.W. Hoffman yet with Tom McMillan. Let's see. Harry Smeltzer, Bull Run to Gettysburg. That's another one we could do. Family Ties to the Battle of Gettysburg. That's listener submitted stuff. I need to actually go through that. What would you guys like? There's a few of you watching here, so let you decide what you want to see. Wouldn't that be nice? Well, let's see. We've got Matthew Leach, who played Sergeant Talbot in Band of Brothers. I've got John Michael. Okay, there. I did do John Michael Self. Okay, I thought so. Let me. John Michael Priest. That's what got me confused. John Michael Self, John Michael Priest. Two different people, very similar names. Okay, John Miller. John Miller, Shippensburg and the Gettysburg Campaign. He's from the Shippensburg, not Chamber of Commerce, what do you call it? Historical Society. Scott Hartwig. I dread the thought of the place. Just did that the other day. Oh, haven't transferred that over yet, though. Our flag was still there. Tom McMillan. You know what? That's an interesting one. We're going to do that. Tom McMillan's Our Flag Was Still There. And also, Christmas is coming, and you guys need to start ordering some books, right? For the history nerd in the family, or if the history nerd in the family is you need to get your significant other or your parents or whoever to get a book for you. This one is an interesting one. So we're going to make a multi-track session, and we're going to call this And Our Flag Was Still There with author Tom McMillan. If you've never met Tom McMillan, next time he's doing a book signing or something, do yourself a favor. Go introduce yourself to him. Tell him you heard him on the show. Really cool guy. Just very nice guy. Loves this stuff. Loves it. Where did I find it? Oh, here. Our flag was still there. All right. So, and our flag was still there is incorrect, but I'll fix that. Actually, no, I can take care of it now. Our flag was still there. Okay, so we're going to save that, and now a multi-track thing has formed here. Now, I'm going to put this is the stereo mix. So this comes off the board. Everything I do on the board is, doable here. Now, let's see.
He was in prison, but his brother...
So here we are just talking.
2065...
Okay, so when you're a first lieutenant on Patreon, you will see a notification come that there's a video. And while the audience is building, while we're getting ready, I play Civil War music. Yay. Right? So there. All right. Now I think we start at about here. All right. Hi, everybody watching in YouTube land and on. Okay. So there I am addressing the live audience on Patreon. And there is the beginning of the show. So I'm going to close all that off, come back here, make sure I got a little space there, and then pull that all the way to the beginning. So yay, we go on this little trip here, all the way to the beginning. There we go. Now, I don't know if this translates well from, how you can hear it, but I'm going to play just a little bit of it, and you're going to hear, there's some bass to it. There's a good quality to the recording, but it's still a little flat compared to what you're maybe used to hearing. So let's listen to it.
From the Gettysburg Museum of History Studios.
You're listening to Addressing Gettysburg.
Hello, patrons, and welcome to this episode of Addressing Gettysburg. And today we have our buddy Tom McMillan on with us yet again for yet another book that he has written. And this guy writes books like I put out shows, I guess, like he just keeps doing it. Our Flag Was Still There. And some of you may be saying to yourself, oh, okay, so there. So now let's go in and find the preset I have. I think I call it AG Today Stereo Sweetener. There we go. And now we'll listen to it again. Guy writes books like I put out shows, I guess, like he just keeps doing it. Our Flag Was Still There. And some of you may be saying to yourself, oh, well, this doesn't have anything to do with Gettysburg or the Civil War, so I'm going to skip it. But don't skip it. You're going to be surprised at some of the connections that there are to Gettysburg and the Civil War. Tom, welcome back.
Matt, great to be here. And Cameron, great to be with you. And, the idea...
So Cam sat in with us on this one because he most recently had a seasonal job with the Park Service down at Fort McHenry. So I said, Cam, Tom McMillan's coming in. You should come on in, talk about Fort McHenry. So Cam is guest starring there as an historian.
The things that they found.
All right. So now Patreon episodes are pretty easy because we do them straight through. There's very little need for editing. And I tell that to people most of the time. Let's just have a conversation. I don't really edit this, so be careful. Yeah, I'm not clipping though, BKW. That's the weird thing.
As always, for coming on. I can't wait for your next book and have you on for that as
well. It's in the yellow, and I've heard, don't let it go in the yellow. I heard as long as it's in the yellow and not touching or barely touching the red, you're okay. I've been putting them out like this forever. I don't know. I don't trust the meters
as well. And that's it for us this time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Because let's say, here, let me put it to, let me do this. Sorry, not the de-esser. Let me do the hard limiter, and let me do it to what they recommend, which is -12, okay? So there, -12. Now let's see.
Very much for your comments and your questions.
So now I'm still going into the yellow,
listening.
so let's do more so that we're not in the yellow at all. Let's do -20. It's extreme.
And Tom, thank you as always for coming on.
So
Can't
we're in
wait
the
for you.
green. So yeah, let me try this. -18.
Your next book and have you on for that as well.
So now,
And
like,
that's it for us. This
I don't know how that's coming across. Don't forget too, I don't know if it sounds like we're clipping or if you're just looking at the meters, but when I was starting out with these, I would do tests to see what my settings should be, and when I would get in my car, I would have to like crank my radio, and when I was down at the recommended -12 decibels. So I said, you know what, F that. I'm going to do what sounds good in my car. And I also kind of like that FM sound, big bottom and everything like that. And so there might be a way to do it without getting into the yellow, but yeah. Okay, so let me get back to what I had it set at, -3. And
this time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and we'll talk to you next time. See you on the field. Alrighty. Now we are done. Thanks, everybody.
All right, so
say goodbye
to the Patreon people. Let me turn that there.
See you on the field. Alrighty. Now we are done.
And then I like to fade out the whatever banter there is as we finish.
On the field. Alrighty. Now we are done.
All right. And then it goes back to the beginning. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to mix down the entire session. BKW says, I've used Lightworks to do video editing. I haven't used Lightworks. Is that, I've never heard of it actually. Is it free or is it like a new software that I haven't heard of yet? Because I'll tell you what, I am so behind on what's what. Josh says, I like to have it kissing the red, and I am okay with an occasional spike into the red. Yeah, I never even tried to go that far. So here, when I mix it down, I have my hard limiter set at -6. But what I do is, so, the way you layer, if we look over here, I don't know if I can make this any more prominent on the screen for you, but let's look in this section here. Right here, okay? If you look in here, the way you layer your effects makes a difference. So I used to have it where my de-esser was there and my hard limiter was on top. So, I have all my effects and then my hard limiter limited everything. But what I noticed was my hard limiter made my S's harsh, so it kind of de-essed the de-esser. Or it de-essed the de-esser. So I switched it. I put the de-esser on top now. But The difference is when you go in here. I'm just thinking of the people watching this who absolutely cannot stand this. Okay, so when you go in here, you can see, I don't know how well this translates for you, but you can see that, you know, it's where I'm trying to find an example. Okay, right here, and this is such an, it's so hard to see, but let's see if I can make this visible for you. All right. So right in here, this little spot right here, we've got a little bit of a spike above -6, and my hard limiter is set at -6. Now, when I used to have the hard limiter on top, that would, you know, it wouldn't go above -6. So it would be a very distinct line going all the way across. But because I put hard limiter under the de-esser, sometimes it pops up over. But it doesn't, it's not a spike, it doesn't matter. And nobody notices the difference when they listen. So I don't sweat it or anything like that. So, all right, we've got our mix down, and now we're going to save it. Save as. Our flag was still there, author Tom McMillan. And we're going to remove mix down 1. I don't need that, because I like to copy and paste the title from the file itself when I'm posting things. And that's going to go as an MP3 into ready for upload. And then we wait for it to work there. BKW says compressors and limiters are your friend. I love compressors and limiters. And by the way, I'll show you. I'll show you my new board. When I'm done with this, I'll move over to the other camera and I'll show you my new board. It's if you BKW and Josh, you guys seem to know what you're talking about. Like, are you audio guys or musicians, or what do you do that you have this stuff? Because even if you're a musician and you want to get something good, the Mackie, what the hell is it called? DLZ Creator is what I just got. And it's designed for podcasts, but there are things in there, like you can put instruments into it. It has the XLR inputs in the back, but I forget what they call them, but it's an XLR or a 1/4 inch input in the same channel. You know those adapters or whatever they call them. It's got those two, so you can plug a guitar or whatever you want in there. There's also other line ins, so if you wanted to put a keyboard in stereo, you could do that as well. Really, really sweet, and I'm loving it. It is so nice. Okay, so our flag was still there. So now I've got the episode saved, but I also do previews on the free feed. So I go to my Patreon pitch file, I pull that in, and I'm going to bring it right there. And now what I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is I'm going to, there we go, wait for it to, okay. So I'm going to slide the show over to the end of me saying
Here's
this.
what you're missing over at patreon.com/addressinggettysburg.
All right, there. Now I go to the 15-minute mark, 15 minutos, and I'm going to cut it there on the show itself, and then I need to come in and cut the end of my thingamabob there, my pitch, and line them up. Okay. Now, actually, I think I'm going to pull that right in there. And now I'm going to fade this out. I usually do 10 seconds, so that's just shy of 15. Well, let me pull it to 15 minutes exactly. Okay, there we go. All right. And then, so stretch it to 10 seconds. So the last 10 seconds start fading out.
You'll hail Columbia,
Well,
Columbia,
right.
the Gem of the Ocean, Civil War, Battle Hymn of the Republic. All these songs are there. I mean, the Union Army played this during the war, but they played numerous songs. It wasn't anything.
Listen to the rest of this interview and dozens.
Okay, lovely. And then I come over here, and if you go, now I'm in Audition. I don't know if it's like this in all of them. Maybe it is. But if I press the O on my keyboard, it does that. And that O stands for out. And in is going to be wherever, like I could make in here, by moving the cursor there and pressing in. But I don't want to do that, so I want to undo. Oh, no, I guess I can't. Oh, shit. Wait, hold on. Okay, redo. How do I redo? I always forget that command. Redo, it just fade out. There we go. All right, so I'm going to just pull that all the way to the beginning. So
here's what you're missing over at patreon.com/addressing Gettysburg.
Okay. And now I'm going to mix down time selection. Not the whole thing, just the time selection. BKW musician, and I run an Allen and Heath DL live board. So it's funny, I've never heard of Allen and Heath until I started researching the Mackie DLZ creator, and I was watching some live streams some audio guys were doing, and their not customers, what do you call them, listeners or viewers were asking questions, and they mentioned the Allen and Heath. So is that like a Mackie product, or is that a completely different brand? Josh says, I'm very novice. I run sound for our church and do a little editing for videos for them. I used to do a lot more in high school with our school news. Oh, cool. I wish our high school had something like that. It was fabled that long ago there was a high school radio station, but not when I was there. All right, so I'm going to now save no, I want to keep that MP3 there. Okay, and then just so that I know when I look in my ready to upload folder, I'm going to put at the end of this PP for Patreon preview, and I'm going to hit save. BKW says, I should say I'm an amateur guitar player. The Allen and Heath is a C class, different brand. Okay, gotcha. All right, now, so I've got that there. Did I already hit? Yeah, I did. I saved it. Okay, now I'm going to go into Libsyn, and I'm going to go, where am I going to go? The stats tips. Yeah, okay, whatever. All right, and then I'm going to go over to episodes and new. And here we go. So now we're going to upload the preview. I'm going to just upload the preview first. So usually I get the book cover. Our flag was still there. Tom McMillan. All right. Flag was still there. Find images. Tools. Size large. There we go. Lovely shot. And then save image as. Sometimes if I have the time or the forethought, I'll take a picture of it on my bookshelf with my phone. But because I have an iPhone, and I know there's a way to fix this, but there's a whole thing because like other programs don't read HEIC files. So I just go, I don't want to go through it, But I mean, it's easily fixed, but I get too much on my plate. Okay, so what was I going to do? Oh, here, go to Patreon, put your own folder, find Our Flag Was Still There. There it is. Our Flag Was Still There, Tom McMillan. And I'll just leave it right here. I'm going to save it there. Okay, so we're saving it. And now back to Libsyn. Add media file and Patreon. Our Flag Was Still There, Tom McMillan. Where the hell did it go? I hate. Oh, because I'm I'm doing it in the audio file. Let me try this again. All right, we'll go to Patreon. There it is. Our flag was still there. All right, and we'll do it again on this one. Okay. And now add media file, so I'll see what a pain in the ass this is. And there very well could be a more streamlined way to do it, but I feel every time I've looked into a streamlined way of doing things, I feel I have less control over different aspects of things. But who knows? Okay, so now I need to find it. Our flag was still there. Begins with an O. PP. There we go for Patreon preview. And I meant to just do this. Where am I? There. Here I am. Copy. Paste. And I capitalize that F. And I'm going to put quotes around it. Didn't think there was a Gettysburg connection to the Battle of Fort McHenry? Question mark? Oh, wait. Besides that of the fort's commander? Well, you'll be surprised when you find out just how connected Fort McHenry was to Gettysburg. Okay, simple little thing there. Maybe what I'll do is I will go and, because we like Tom, we like all the people that come on the show. So I'll go and I'll pull the blurb from Amazon and copy it so that people know what it's about. And then I'm going to link it. So okay, and then our flag was still there, and that's where I'll put the link. Here's the link, copy the link, copy, go back over here, and link thing, and then pop it in, paste, okay, new window, and hopefully people will go and get Tom's book, because, why? It's good. Why is it good? Because Tom's a good writer, and he really loves what he's doing. Okay, so tags, Fort McHenry, Major Armistead, addressing Gettysburg, Tom McMillan, our flag was still there. Do we still need to do tags? I feel like tags are outdated. Okay, and then history, blah, 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 and then we want to schedule it. Schedule episode, and then our little calendar pops up. We're scheduling it for midnight. That's 12:00 anti-meridian. Anti-meridian on the 13th. Okay, update ID3 tags and publish. All right. Guitarzan says, I have a Scarlett. I'm trying to figure out. Just sold my Marshall. BKW says, 128 channels, 64 buses, 64 mic preamps, 32 outputs. Holy balls. That's huge. I wish I had something like that. I play piano, keys, bass, and guitar. I started on drums, and then I moved to piano because everybody had a piano in their house at parties. And the ladies gathered around when I would start to play. Never really helped me beyond that, but whatever. Yes. Yes, Ty. It is stored in the Matt practicing karaoke folder. I was practicing it to see if it really was something I wanted to do on the show. And the answer is no. No, I don't. No, I don't. It can't be good, and I can't possibly help. It won't help anything to do it. Maybe someday, after I'm dead, somebody can go in and put it out. Babber says, did someone teach you how to do all this, or do you have to figure it out yourself? It's way over my head. No, Barbara. I had people that I could like lean on for help, but no, for the most part, I had to YouTube everything. Thank God I started getting into this stuff when YouTube was a thing. If it had been, well, let's say back in high school, we were working with tape still. I had friends who were into audio engineering, and I kind of got the basics of it, but the analog thing was just way too much for me. I'm not a gearhead. I'm not a techie person. It was just way too much. And then digital really exploded, and computers, and everything became affordable and accessible, and YouTube had tutorials. And so everything I ever wanted to learn, I had a friend, Mark, who would explain it to me quickly over the phone if I had a quick question. And if he couldn't answer it, or if it was too involved of an answer, either I would find a YouTube tutorial or he would send me one. Hold on, let me just get some water here. So no, I taught myself. Ty Webb says, misspelled think as this in the beginning of the description. Oh, did I? Thank you. Thank you. Didn't this there? Yep, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right, Ty. Good eye. Didn't realize it showed up so clearly. Didn't think. Oops. Didn't mean to do that either. Didn't think there was a Gettysburg connection to the Battle of Fort McHenry besides that of the fort's commander? Well, you'll be surprised when you find out just how connected Fort McHenry was to Gettysburg. Our flag was still there. He says, blah, blah, blah. Season 10. That's not an episode. It's a trailer. All right. Good thing you made me go in there, Ty, because now I caught that. Here we go. Thank you very much, Ty. BKW, it's for live sound. Oh, okay. I would love a board like that that's not for live sound before recording, or better yet, broadcast. I would love an actual broadcast console. But who's got the money? You know what I mean? Sold my drums last year. We should start a band. Yeah, I've toyed with it because Colby is an excellent guitarist and a very good singer too. A lot of people don't know this about Colby, but he had a pretty, I would say, respectably successful. He would downplay this, but successful career with a band. Like, they were touring, they did albums and videos, and he had long hair and the whole 9 yards. And they were good, like solid. Barbara says, it took me 4 years to learn to edit photos on my Mac. Well, so the thing with me was I wanted to do this type of stuff for a living, and I didn't want to go to school. I was done with school. I was like, school is the last place to go if you want to learn anything. And I learned best from experience and from doing or seeing. And so I just decided to teach myself how to do it. And again, luckily enough, I was around and doing that at a time when it was possible to do it without any formal training. All right, I don't know if I hit publish or not, so I'm going to do it again. All right, and so that is it. And then I go over to Patreon, and you just go to Patreon, create a post. This is going to be an audio post. And then you come in here and you select it. And now we don't want PP. That's Patreon preview. So we want Our Flag Was Still There, Atomic Millennium. Let me just make sure or something here, because the other day, okay, yeah, 15, 20. All right. And then, so we're going to add a title. Now, I'm just going to go and copy and paste what I put in here. So our flag was still there. Copy. Paste. And then we go to the description. Copy. Into paste. All right. And then, yeah. And then, all right. So there it is. It's uploaded there. I'm going to take the, man, we got a lot. See, look at all the stuff we have, folks. I mean, we have episodes coming out our A's. What did I come in here for? Oh, yes, the picture. Flag was still there. There it is. So that goes in there. And then we go to next. And let's see, what week are we in now? This is going to be the third release of the month. So that means Sergeant Major, Second Lieutenant, and First Lieutenant get that. Okay. And then we will put the audio preview in there. We're not going to, oh yes, we want to schedule it. So we go into the thing there and we go over to the 13th and we pick 12 o'clock a.m. Some of you were like, please don't say anti-meridian again like an asshole. All right. And then let's put it under other battles. We'll put it under author interviews. That's what I was looking for. Okay. And we'll put Tom McMillan. Not McNinemillan. Okay, there we go. Tom McMillan. He's been on before. And then we will put Fort McHenry. We're going to put Cam in there because Cam is on this episode. What else? Gettysburg Connections. I got to tell you something. I think I'm coming down with a cold or something. I'm feeling kind of weird. All right. And then we schedule it. Okay. And there you go. So that is the excitement of how that's done. And now, oh, you know what? Let me see. Let me make sure here. Editing and ask a guide. So we want drafts, post. I need any of that there. Okay. All right. And then I think that is it for that. Okay. So that's that there. And then when it comes out, it'll be on YouTube. It'll be, everywhere. It all comes out at once. And there you go. There you have it. Guitarzan says, Barbara, I still can't set the clock on my VCR. That's funny. All right. And so I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to save this. If I ever need to go back and edit it, there it is. And what we'll do now is I will take you in to the other room and I will show you the new board for those of you who are interested in that sort of thing. All the fun and joy that it has. And also, I mean, it sounds nicer. It sounds nicer. Okay, so we're going to close that, minimize that, close that, and then here we are. Very confusing. I'm going to go to camera 1. No. I want to do camera 1 and 3. All right, and then give me a second. I'll be right back. Okay. All right, where's camera 3? Let me pull camera 3 over here. And I'll show you the board. Come here, camera 3. Okay. Look down. There you go. Let me see. Maybe get a better shot of it there. Okay. I'll have to move it around a bit. But so here it is. Very exciting. It's got a lot of things on it, and some of you may be saying, what the hell is all that stuff? So this is my channel, and this is the output, overall, the stereo output. I don't have the computer hooked up to it. I can play music and all the other stuff. But, I mean, you can do a ton of stuff. I'm talking a ton of stuff here, folks. Like, for example, so if I go into my channel here. Okay, so my channel, I go to setup. You see it says Big Daddy, so everybody knows who it is. And you got like, you got your gain. You can press this button and you can set your gain automatically. So you press the button, you don't hear anything, but you talk at your normal levels and it'll set the right level for you if you want, or you can manually control your gain there. I do both. I let it set my level for me, and then I go, yeah, but not enough. And then I crank it up just a little bit more. And then here, right over here, you've got reverb, and I can add reverb if I want to. Hello, everybody. And then you can also do delay. And I think this one's called Outer Space. Well, let's see. Effects, delay, yeah, space. And you can mix it with your, where am I here? You can mix it with reverb, and you can be like, pigs in space, and have a lot of fun with that, and, drive people insane. What does that have to do with history? And then you've got your EQs, so you can do your EQs here. Now, let's see. So this is on my, okay. So one of the cool things it has is this thing called snapshots. And you got different settings that you can create in here. So right now, I believe it's on the Patreon snapshot. So I'm going to change it over to AG Today's snapshot. And go ahead. Okay. Yes, go ahead. Okay, so now it's an AG Today's snapshot, which is a different sound. I don't know if you noticed the difference, but I noticed the difference on the voice there. And if you see the waves here, or the waves, what the hell? These things. You can see it's the classic V shape there. And the bass is up pretty high for a reason. And then, yeah, so you got a noise gate, which is really good. Like here, this is the gate off. I don't know if you hear the room noise, but listen. And I'm going to turn it on. Basically gone. You got a compressor, which has a hard knee and a soft knee and a high knee. Get it? And then a de-esser. And this de-esser is really neat because you can really, really fine tune it if you want to. You could have pretty wide de-esser if you want, or, very narrow de-esser if you want there. So, she sells seashells by the seashore, and then really wide is she sells seashells by the seashore. It almost sounds like a lisp, so you kind of want to, I don't know, somewhere in the middle there. You do want to be able to say an S. Got a lot of cool things, and then, you could save your snapshots and whatever. And then, of course, my favorite is the samples, which go on these pads here. And like this one is the the Ask a Gettysburg Guide intro.
From the Gettysburg Museum of History Studios,
You're listening to Addressing Gettysburg.
Or Bethany's News.
and now, all the news that's fit to print.
Okay, you don't need to hear all that. The outro. And it's got about 4 banks there. Bank A, B, C, D. We'll go back into Bank A comes loaded with things that, aren't necessarily like this. They have their own like sexy music. Like I play when, like when Joe came in to give Cam a hug a couple of weeks ago, but this is theirs. And then of course my favorite, which is really neat, is, it could be like, why don't you go and yourself? And everybody's fun and happy because I have this little button right there. It gets rid of all the curse words like shit, sucker, and all these other things. It's such a cool board. It does a whole bunch of other things too. So if you are into this stuff, it's called the DLZ Creator. Well, you can't really see it too well. DLZ Creator. Get a hold of it. It will change your podcasting life. If you're into podcasting, it will absolutely change your podcasting life. All right. I've got nothing more to add, although you might be commenting and I don't want to ignore you. So hold on. Let me go back over. Yes, I'm going to go back over to the other room and answer any comments that you might have. So be right back.